Okay, just so everybody is on the same page as far as cleaning the paint pots goes, I'm going to show you what I would like done. First, you're going to need a disposable plate, a paintbrush. Some people like to use these, which is fine. You're going to need a damp washcloth so that you can wipe the outside of this container down so there's no paint on it. And then you're going to take your container and you're going to empty it of what is inside. So these paint pots and the Fun-Writers. Okay. So, and I will show you how to put them back in properly as well. When people are done at their tables, what you're going to do is you're going to be putting away these paints. If they look like this, the top is clean, there's no paint on it, and it's half to 3/4 of the way full, it is fine to put back into the bin. If it's got paint on the outside of it, you want to wash that off first before putting it back in the bin. The paint pots go on the right side as you face it. If it looks like this, we need to take care of this. So what you're going to do is you're going to pop the top. All right, and you look at this, you can see there's gunk all over the top, but you can also see that there's stuff that's stuck on the sides. So what I do is I take a paintbrush and I go around the side and mix it in. If it's dry, then you don't want to mix it in. You want to just go around the side and you're going to pull it off and you're going to put it on the plate. Now for the top, same thing. You're going to take your paintbrush and go around, try to get as much off as you can, or that's where these come in handy. So making sure that you don't spill it. I'm not sure I can do this up like this, but I'm going to try. You're just going to, let's see. You're going to scrape this paint off the top and wipe it on your disposable plate, because the stuff on the top we don't want to introduce back into the paint. Then when you get the majority of that off, you're going to take your damp washcloth and you're going to go around that top to get it nice and clean. Now, a little bit of paint is not going to make that much of a difference if there's any creased in there, but that's what you want the top to look like. Then you're going to close it up, make sure that there's no paint on the outside, and then you're going to put it into the bin. I then take my brush that I used and I wipe it off, and I get ready for my next one. Here's another one that's put back with stuff on the top. So lift up the top, go around here. Now this one is dry. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's got dry stuff. So I'm going to hold that over my plate and I'm going to pull that dry stuff off and I'm going to put it on my plate. If I can't get it all off that way, I'm going to scoop it out afterwards because we don't need chunkies in there. It comes right out. Okay. And then stir it just to make sure there aren't any more glops in there. Okay. Okay, and then wipe that off. Then the top. This is pretty much dry. I'm not sure this is going to do much good. Okay, so use your judgment. Again, the back end of the paintbrush, kind of scrape it down. Sometimes it's hard, but then once you get some of it done, you can sort of scrape it off and just kind of leave it to fall into your plate. Back and forth. Okay, can you see what I'm doing here? It's got little, became powdery because it's so dry. All right, so right now what it looks like is this. So before I close it up, I just want to go around with my damp washcloth. Just to get as much out of it as I can. Okay. The other thing that you can do is where it's around the sides like this and where it was so dry, you can take your damp washcloth. Now when I say damp, I don't mean dripping wet because we don't want to introduce water into these. Just damp. and go around the sides. Okay, just like that. Close it up. It's 3/4 of the way. Doesn't have any paint on the outside, so it's ready to go back in the bin. I have found that I can use the same washcloth for a whole bin. If you can't, you can wash these washcloths. You take it in, you use hot water, and you rinse them out, and then you can reuse them, color per color per color. Likewise, these you could just put into the trash, rinse the plate off, and use it again. So we're trying to save as much materials as we can. You're not throwing a whole bunch of stuff away, but that's how to do the paint pots. For the Writer bottles, what you're checking for, you want to make sure there's a pin. You want to make sure there's not a bunch of junk at the top. Like this one has, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the stuff that's here? So you use your thumbnail or a damp cloth and wipe that off. You want to remove the pin and squeeze a drop out to make sure that it's not clogged. And you want to observe the outside to make sure there's not paint all over it. Once you've determined that this is okay, then it's going to go in the bin. Now, the paint pots go on the right as you face it. Look at that. There we go. And the Fun Writer goes on the left as you're facing it. So that makes it easy because the full bottle goes behind the Fun Writers. If the bottles are empty, there are more in the back. Just ask someone where they are. And that's how you do the paint pots. Once they're done, they should be good for a week or so. You're going to write your initials on the sheet. We'll show you where that is. But that's how to clean the paint pots. So when we say clean them, that's what we mean.